We're back. I'm so excited. Welcome to Endless Night to Gaming, my mostly feminine channel. I'm Lizzie. These are my super awesome friends. You should be jealous because they're way cooler than your friends. We're playing D&D tonight, and I have been looking forward to this one for a while. So is everybody ready to get started? 'Cause I am.
Yes.
100%.
Awesome. Let's go. Last time we were all here together, you all stood at the base of a mountain that woke up to meet you. Stone and fury and something ancient that recognized you, and you brought it down. And when the dust settled and the bridge went quiet, something settled into you with it. Heavier than power, older than anything your mortal lives have handed you before. The rupture in the ground is still ahead of you. It has been ahead of you since that ruined temple, since the first step that cracked the world open beneath your feet. You have been following it like a road, like something the earth is trying to lead you to. It leads you through open country now. Sky above you, ground beneath you, the scar of split earth cutting forward. For 2 days you have followed it. Watched it bend around nothing, cut through everything. And then the land begins to flatten. The rupture slows. And ahead of you, the horizon disappears. Swallowed. Consumed by a water so vast and so still that you cannot tell where the sky ends and the lake begins. The rupture reaches the shore and stops. What would you like to do, friends?
I look over to our beautiful weather goddess and just gesture to the ocean. Make it move or something.
Raise an eyebrow and say, the ocean is a force as powerful as any god. Do you think I could just move it on a whim? And she gestures, and you see the waves ripple across the, like...
It is a lake, so it ripples out
away
from you. Completely still, and it's like dropping a massive pebble.
Yeah.
I, in fact, do think that it bends to your will and you can make it do as you wish.
Camber will reach out a hand towards Zola and say, simply climb aboard my back. I shall carry you.
I will take your hand.
And Camber will assist you in climbing up behind him. And Camber's wearing horseshoes of the Zephyr, so Camber just walks on out onto the surface of the lake.
Tatriana reaches into her pack and starts unfolding a boat.
I love that. Camber, you step out on to the lake and your vision swims. And the water takes you back to the beginning. You see a world unmade, raw and vast and breathing, titans already woven into the bones of the world itself, already its heartbeat and its voice. Ancient by mortal measure, but not by yours. You all arrived from elsewhere, from a place that has no name in any mortal tongue, and the world beneath your feet is young. And you see what others do not. Every living thing trailing light behind it, threads reaching outwards, searching and connecting and binding. The world's already full of them, titan to titan, stone to root, fire to deep water, and now there are new threads, divine ones, stretching between the gods as you spread across this new world and begin to create. Phoebus, after you arrive, what is the first thing that you create?
I look down and I see among the growing things roses, deep reds, light pinks, and I draw from deep into the earth. I feel the stones, the minerals, and I pull diamond from deep in the earth. I bring it up and I shape a rose, stem, petals, and leaves from that diamond.
Phoebus, why is it this? What does it become?
It is the hard material of the diamond transformed into the softness of the flower. The connection between them and the refraction of the stone to share the light of that connection with everything around it.
You have seen every kind of thread that exists between every kind of being. But 5 of them, running between you and 4 others, form something together that you haven't seen before. By themselves, they're already extraordinary, but together they form a constellation that has no equal. A pattern, a shape, something that shouldn't be possible, and yet it burns to you. One of those 4 threads, you did not trust the moment it reached you. Who was it?
Oh, it was definitely Drizel.
Why was it Eris?
Eris is like a thorn in my side. I see the connections between us now that I didn't see before we came here. But an antithesis. The desirer of the opposite of the things that I want, it seems. And the one that I can't escape. And this brings it home even more that I can't escape it.
Why can't you escape?
Because we're bound by a promise from our past. I swore I'd never betray him.
Eris, why was Phoebus right not to trust you?
Well, I guess it depends on the variety of trust. Some people like predictability. They like concrete results of action. And I like things a little more fluid. I think at the end of times, it what all boils down to, I don't like to see things stagnant, which people think that that's exactly what I desire. But it's not. I just want the motion. I want it smooth, I want it subtle, but I want it constant. Always seeking. And I think there's a line where, deception is maybe not even an act coming from me, but it is a misunderstanding of intent from others. It probably doesn't help that I don't explain myself ever to anyone, and will not.
Camber, the memory releases you. Shoreline returns under your feet, and in the water below, your reflection has begun to shift. The shape of something vast and radiant pressing up from underneath, straining against your own face that is now looking back at you.
You guys see this?
So, like, Camber has just gone completely motionless.
And I'm sitting upon my steed, and look over and say, "Are you okay, my friend?" Looking in the water.
You can see, Zola, some sort of disturbance going on in the water, but Camper's just looking at their own reflection.
I do see your reflection, but there is a disturbance. What do you see?
I see something large and glowing trying to come for me.
Well, then we must beat it back. Unless it is you.
Unless it is me. It feels familiar.
If given a chance, Camber, would you fight yourself?
If necessary, I would fight myself. But destroying the self is the first step to enlightenment.
Don't let this drag you underwater. I do hate swimming.
What's wrong with being underwater?
The swimming part.
It's easy. You just have to let go.
I do like the way you think. So I'm still disappointed you did not move the waves.
Cestia will just grin over at her companion and then just leap into the water.
I look so upset at the splash of water that touched me. So the most
Gross.
displeased look. Just
That's my most expensive robe. Cestia, you charge into the water, and as soon as you are submerged, the past rises to meet you. The world that the gods have walked openly for so long is beginning to crack beneath them. The fracture that began an argument has become something that cannot be contained in words any longer. The pantheon divides, not in theory or philosophy, but in the oldest and most absolute way. Sides drawn, lines crossed. Divine power turned against divine power for the first time since the Titans were buried in the bones of the world. Mortal civilizations that survived the uprising now watch the sky tear itself apart above them and understand that whatever is happening dwarfs everything that came before. The war between the gods does not begin with a single strike. It begins with the moment the last argument ends and the first storm begins. And Rudra, you were that storm. When the war finally broke open and the full force of what you are was finally unrestrained, what was the first thing you destroyed?
There was a place. It was a temple that was dedicated to all of the pantheon. It was a place where statues of every god were worshipped. It was a place where people came and brought on the highest of holy days. It was a place of peace and reverence and being able to put aside differences and being able to celebrate in the creation and the continued life of the world. It was only appropriate that it be the first place to shatter. And so I brought a storm down upon it. A fortnight of rain and thunder and lightning until there was nothing left, even my own statues.
What became of that place?
It was considered cursed by mortals for many years, lost unto time until quite recently. And at that point, I think the people that found it didn't understand exactly what it was. But no one has used it. Stepping forward on it just reveals nothing but rage and a feeling of breaking and splintering and losing yourself.
The war between the gods is vast and without mercy, and it touches every corner of what you all had built together. Nothing is spared. Nothing is neutral. And then, for just a heartbeat in the middle of all that violence, everything goes flat and still and silent like the eye of a hurricane. And then the storm roars back and the war carries on. And this war puts you and someone else on the same ground at the same moment. Who was it?
I think I think it was Torog and I. There was a moment in there where we realized that our goals in this were the same, that this war wasn't necessarily about the survival of any one part of the Pantheon, but it was about the complete destruction and then restructuring in the wake and the aftermath. And so the two of us were temporarily on the same side as our realizations of what we wanted. Maybe not for the same purposes, but at least the same methods combined.
Torag, how did you react when you all came face to face?
With utter pleasure.
What happened?
I did not give her the fight she may have been looking for, but instead words. Words of destruction, recreation. Nothing lasts, everything breaks, and everything returns. What we do now won't matter, because it's a circle. Joey.
I think that in that moment, Rudra, who has been the breaker of things, who is seen by much of the Pantheon on either side as a betrayer, as an instigator, has one moment where anyone else connects with them. And she says, this only ends when everyone else fails.
So
let's make sure that happens.
And we will.
But that does mean that we have to fail as well, even if we're the last ones. Something new must grow, but in order to grow, everything has to die. Everything has to be brought down.
Then, my storm, let us bring it down, including ourselves.
And she held out her hand for Torog,
I will take.
and they
I will
went
take it.
together.
And Cestia, the vision releases you. This lake stretches before you once more, vast and still, and your reflection has begun to pull away from you, straining towards something enormous just beneath the surface.
She will dive down after it.
Make a nature check for me. We will roll tonight. Hooray!
That's a natural 20.
Oh, come on,
Ooh.
sis. That's how we start it. I love it. Cestia, you very quickly realize this isn't a lake. And while you are moving through a space, you are not swimming.
Mm-hmm.
And there is nothing beneath this surface, just darkness and emptiness. Except for that point of light where the others stand above you.
Does it feel like something I would be drawn to? Or does it feel like something that repels me?
It is neither. It is nothing.
And is this a place I've ever experienced before?
Let's do another check. Let's just do a straight intelligence on this one.
Oh, well, that's much worse.
You're welcome.
Huh?
Hey,
It's still
that's
a
not
16.
bad. Okay. It's not bad. There is something about it that you have witnessed in the blink of an eye. And you're not sure exactly when. You're not quite able to piece the timeline together. But it is there. A kernel of it somewhere.
Right. She'll swim back to the surface. And she will sort of rise up just a little bit off the surface. And this time, the waves, Zola, are actually moving away from her. And she will say, beneath us, this lake is not a lake. Beneath us is a void, emptiness. Perhaps it has been growing here. I don't remember it exactly. It wasn't here when we left, but it's here now.
Did you experience anything?
Look over at them. I suppose you could call it experience. More of a recollection. An understanding.
Based on the recollection I had, I believe we all will need to recollect here.
It's entirely possible. I'll look over at Torog. Means you might have to get in the water, love.
Just
This
dip
arm
a
is
toe.
heavy. Fine. I'm not gonna be happy about it. And I like lift my black cloak up and put a foot in.
And the present moment falls away all at once. The world is unrecognizable. Whatever the gods built together over an age lies broken beneath a sky that has finally stopped burning. The divine war has taken everything it could reach, God and mortal alike, civilizations and creations and names from the pantheon itself gone. What remains stands exhausted and diminished. And from that exhaustion, a proposal arises. Moros, the god of death, steps forward with a vision. A gate between the divine and the mortal world every god retreating behind it into their own sealed domain, the door closing forever on what was built and walked and breathed into the open world. To protect the mortals from the gods, to protect the gods from themselves, and to ensure that what just happened can never happen again. The Pantheon, too tired and too broken to find another way, agrees. 5 gods refused. While the rest of the Pantheon turned their backs on their creation, 5 planted their feet in the mortal world and would not be moved. And so the Pantheon came for you, one by one. Torog, when they came for you, with all that patience, with all those roads coiling through every dark place in the world, what did you do?
I allowed it to happen. It was meant to be. I will look at them and tell them, you'll see us all again. It's only a matter of time. This won't work for long. And you'll see the chains around this black robe figure where you never see quite fully what the face looks like, but you hear slight horrors if you look a little bit too close. There's something off, something empty about it. The chains wrap around and snaps my own neck. Not necessarily killing, because I am a god, but putting into a sleep so they can take me peacefully.
You are bound, and the 5 of you are brought together. The full extent of what remains of the Pantheon gathers around you, beginning the ritual that would cast you all down. In that last shrinking moment, in that blink of consciousness before the darkness takes you completely, your eyes find the face of someone else. Who was it?
Lovely Decay.
What did you think when you caught their eye?
That this rebirth is going to ruin another world. And I'm here for it.
Kakia, what goes through your mind in that last moment when Torog's eyes find yours before the darkness takes you both?
There's like the slow smile spreads across her features. This will be a delightful poison.
Zola, the memory releases you. You are standing on the shore again. Lake still in front of you. And you see your own reflection straining against the surface, like something that has been patient for far too long.
Do I get the sense that this thing, whatever's staring back, wants to take me over?
Make an insight check.
All right. I'm quite good at those.
Yeah, you are.
18.
Yeah, 18 plus 11. Jesus. I was like, not that great. Well, actually. Let me give you my modifiers, sis. I love it. No. You feel as if something is trying to reveal itself to you. That you need to
Okay.
see something.
Okay. And everyone around her would kind of hear her mumbling to herself of nothing lasts forever, everything breaks, everything returns. Nothing lasts forever, everything breaks, everything returns. I am opening up myself, trying to touch whatever is trying to reach out to her. She is, all intents and purposes, in a zealot frenzy currently.
And you feel it. You feel it calling from one divine nature to another, like an echo. Like it is wanting to connect.
Just tears start coming down her eyes. I see sits back on Camber. It's going to be beautiful, everyone. And just kind of lays on the back of him.
It's a lot.
Camber enjoys the warmth.
Yes, yes. It's all.
I think by this point I finished unfolding my boat.
Yeah, I think so. It's actually only been like a few moments. There's been a step into the water, a frozen Camber. Cestia dives in, comes out, speaks a little bit. Zola dips a foot in. It has been maybe a minute since you've been here.
Giselle, shall we join our friends?
Well, I have no interest in getting wet either. But I do love to see the waves move, so let us go.
I will let him get in the boat and push it till I'm about waist deep before I climb in.
You don't make it waist steep. As soon as you step foot in it, a memory blooms in you like an infection. The world that the gods built has had time to settle into itself. Mortals have spread across it, generation after generation, filling the land with noise and complexity of lives lived briefly and urgently. The gods have walked among them, shaped them, favored some and forgotten others. And in the forgotten places, in the dark corners of the world where your divine attention never quite reached, something has been growing. It didn't announce itself, didn't march in the open. It built in the shadows of neglected civilizations, in the communities that watched other peoples flourish under divine favor while they were left to find their own way in the dark. And at the center of it, a single hand. An elven woman of extraordinary arcane power, patient and brilliant and furious in the way that only centuries of cold witness can produce. Naira Vale. When she finally moves, The Pantheon is not ready. Mortals rise across the face of the world simultaneously, a fury so coordinated that the gods feel it like a tremor through the divine realm itself. They come with the full force of generations of accumulated grievance and arcane power built in secret, and they come in numbers that stagger the mind. They die in those same numbers, wave after wave, and still they come. When the mortals rose, Kakia, you moved through the Pantheon. Whose ear did you find first?
Last. Oh, come on. I'm sorry, I forgot y'all's names. So I'm trying to pull it up.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
we've got Phoebus, Eris, Rudra, and Torog.
I go to Phoebus.
Ooh.
What did you say? Did you whisper into Phoebus's ear?
Perhaps it is time you brought your love to these forgotten corners. Let them be the fortunate ones.
My love has always been in the forgotten corners. They just do not always see it. What is it they say? The grass is always greener?
And perhaps it is time they got a grand gesture. The neglected like to think they are not loved.
I rarely interfere directly, more than a word here or there. What do you have in mind?
I say we give them exactly what they want. They want our love, our attention, our power. Let them have it.
I have never denied it, but perhaps others have.
So perhaps you, with your silver tongue, can convince them that love is the way to peace.
I am sure many of our, I hesitate to say comrades in the Pantheon, those that I am less connected to than others, they see all of this as destruction. Do you?
No.
Neither do I.
Destruction.
What do you see?
What do I see? I see an empire built in shadows. People who wish for the fall of the powerful. I just want to let them have what they want. I want to watch the world shift.
We have that in common. For what I see is a world like a seed. And for a seed to achieve its greatest expression, it must come completely undone. The shell cracks. The insides come out. Everything changes. To someone who doesn't understand growth, it would look like complete destruction.
Exactly. I think they have been tilling this field too much. It needs to be followed.
The seed has been planted.
And now it needs to rest.
The gods find Naira at the apex of the uprising. They strike her down. The mortal armies falter without her, fracture, and fall. What she built over centuries crumbled in the hours after her death. And you stand victorious. The survivors kneel in the wreckage, and the Pantheon tears itself apart over what comes next. Every fracture you already knew was there splits open at once. And you, Kakia, did not wait for the argument to resolve. You moved against someone directly. Who was it?
Eris,
What did you do?
I raided their library. I took their knowledge. And I spread it everywhere. A little here, a little there. Those things that we should not have known, they now did. Sit.
Eris, how did you react and retaliate when Kakia came for you?
It was difficult in the moment because I approved of the concept. And besides, the knowledge that was in my library, I had already devoured it. It was of no use to me anymore. And I might have done something similar had the mood struck me. But the fact that it was done directly, with no approach, no discussion, that it was just taken from me, was inexcusable. And so I spent a vast amount of my time and energy going far too out of my way to make sure that everyone that used a piece of that knowledge to gain something was bitten by it. That it was a tiny little snake on everybody's back.
Oh, how I reveled in that.
Tetriana, the memory releases you back to the shoreline. Your reflection is stretching into something terrible. Something pressing against the water from underneath.
Interesting.
I think that's a great time for us to take our break. We'll be back in 10 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Talking about how unfair it is that we get to play vampire on Saturday. Stupid excited. Anyway, we're back, and we're gonna stop talking about vampire and go back to D&D. Let's do this. You all are standing at the shore. Tetriana, you have just snapped, I can talk, out of a memory. And you are brought back to the present moment.
For the heck of it, I hoist myself up onto that boat and look at Drizel. Perhaps you should trail your hand in the water.
Nah, I don't think so.
Can I splash Drizel?
I say, Cameron's gonna take the great sword and splash the crap out of him. Big old wave.
You receive your godly info.
My autonomy! No.
I was gonna say, Celestia would have just overturned the boat and pissed you both off.
Please don't ruin my makeup.
Autonomy. I'm gonna laugh at that all day tomorrow. Thanks. Drizel, the water cascades over the side of the boat and somehow still pulls you under. The world is no longer unmade. The gods have been at work, and their mark is everywhere. Mountains, seas, the world itself shaped and reshaped by hands that knew exactly what they were doing. And beneath it all, beneath every mountain and sea and carved valley, are the Titans. Buried and bound, pressed into the core of the world by full weight of divine victory. They did not go quietly, but they went. And Eris, you were there when the tide turned against them. When the Titans refused to bow, when they rose against the gods who had come to remake their world, what did you do that turned the tide against them?
I think that it was mostly with whispers, with tiny little tricks of, visions, little, what to me I would consider just parlor stuff. But to them, it seemed real. And I showed them images of one talking to another, maybe one of them doing something that was taboo within their understandings. One said, "Oh, this is how it should be." And another would say, "No, this isn't what we want." And I would just magnify those thoughts, spread them around, twist them ever so slightly, and just watch, just plucking on their little web that they thought they were so secure within, that they were so righteously interconnected, so strong and powerful in their ties. That's when it's easiest just to pluck here and there, make that harmony just a slight bit discordant, until one by one They started turning against each other, just enough to distract them.
After the Titans were contained, the world that you have built begins to fill. Small things moving across the face of it, breathing and speaking and reaching upward towards the divine with something that looks almost like worship. Mortals, new and endlessly complicated and already beginning to fracture against one another. And before any of the others even think to move among them, you are already there. What did you do among them before the others even thought to look?
It was really just a lark for me more than anything else. I enjoy seeing everything, watching the changes happen. And so I just slowly, secretly, has traveled around the world, leaving behind little pieces of myself, tiny little clones that would grow up, interact with the people there, and just watch them, see how they interact. No guidance, no interference, as it were. Simply just interplay. Watching all of the change is far more entertaining when it's 50, 100, 1,000 different perspectives all at the same time. You really get to know these creatures when you see them in all their facets.
Who among the others was the first to find out? And how did you let it slip?
I think I think it was Zola or Torog that I made a mistake in my arrogance, in that when I created my little clones, I started them off as children and let them grow up. But for whatever reason, forgot about the fact that there's a lifespan on these things. And I think that they happened to look and note that all of a sudden there were a handful of these things running around down there that weren't decaying, that weren't cycling as they should. They would just persist. And if you looked hard enough, they kind of looked just like me, because why shouldn't they?
Torag, what did you do when you found out?
First, I took one of them to see what made them tick. Why they were not given a proper burial. And then two, and then three, and then the fourth one, and then the fifth one. But after the sixth, I decided to also go down and play because if we can inform these creatures on things we want, that might be a different power set no one's has, well, clearly not no one has thought about, but it's good to get on and on the ground floor.
Giselle, the memory releases you. You're seated in the boat. This lake that's not a lake, vast, still. And your reflection has begun to fracture. Something vast and hooded pressing up through the surface, scales catching the light of the water, silver and shadow, straining against a different face that looks back at you. Your face, not your face.
Well, I guess we can say that we've all successfully seen something in the water.
It's exciting, isn't it?
Well, it doesn't look quite as handsome as myself, but sure.
I do
It's
agree.
intriguing, if nothing else.
Mm, I can take intriguing.
I do find it interesting that others of, well, I don't know if it's others of us or memories of others, but there's certainly a lot of interaction for just a reflection.
It must have been the first versions of us.
Hmm. Well, they were certainly playful. I don't know how I feel about that.
I mean, well, a playful god is always a terrifying thing.
Certainly. But such sights.
The question I have to ask is, since we came to that place, what, earlier today or maybe a millennia ago, it's hard to remember, but since we came to that place, we've been led around
Mm-hmm.
like little sheep in a row. So, where does it lead us next? Where's the end to this? And of course, you have to ask, well, if we're a bunch of sheep, where's the shepherd?
Huh.
Could we be our own shepherd?
I am not one for riddles, so you'll have to speak plainly, please.
In one of my memories, or one of the memories that involved me, the idea was that the seed was planted, that we somehow knew. Did you see this, any of you?
Yes.
That we give them what they want
I,
and let them choke on it?
I saw us being captured and bound and gagged and uh, maybe put away.
Zola, you speak your memory to these people that you are somehow interconnected with. And your reflection cracks from you and spreads across the lake and fractures. And then Torog rises. The water ruptures upward, and from it a figure takes shape, gaunt and towering, each limb segmented and hinged like an insect's, too long in proportion. Flesh mottled in blues and purples stretched across a thin frame. A featureless mask of pale bone. Tattered robes falling across the water below. And from beneath those robes, the centipede legs emerge and segmented coils unfurl, spreading outward across the lake. The full scale of what Torog is, what you are. A presence so vast and so absolute that the darkness beneath the water rises to meet the form. And then chains erupt from the water, driving through the centipede legs, through the coils, through each too long limb, forcing that vast and crawling form inward and downward. The legs fold, compresses, the mask descends towards the surface. What's spread through every dark and hidden road in this world is stopped. And around the chained form of Torog, the surface of the lake splits open, and from that darkness, other figures surge upward. Immense and relentless, breaking the air above the water one by one, until what stands assembled now on this lake is still and terrible.
I am praying to the figure of Torok, the crawling king.
You all see it.
Interesting.
That's certainly unsettling.
Isn't that the most beautiful thing that you've seen before?
Well, no, it's not a mirror.
I believe you are far more beautiful.
Did we...
Not-
Were we captured and bound by them? Or did we
Yes.
allow ourselves to be captured and bound?
I look at you and I just say, yes. It might have been different for everyone. I don't see some of us going in peacefully.
No, of course not.
Tell your stories. Tell your visions, what you've said.
I remember the beginning of the war. I don't consider myself the cause of it, merely the catalyst. The one who destroyed the most sacred of holies. the one who broke the piece in a way that it couldn't be put back together again. That was my doing. And I did it because it must be done. I did it because to do any more or any less would have been stagnation, would have meant that none of it came to pass. So I smote down upon that place until it no longer existed. And that's when the war began.
Cestia, your reflection blazes across this lake, and Rudra erupts from the water, figure of impossible and radiant fury, wreathed in living storm, lightning coiling along your arms, eyes burning with the fierce clarity of a sky scoured clean. The air above the water cracks with the force of that presence, the full scale of what Rudra is, what you are. Something so relentlessly alive that the world cannot hold it still. Until chains surge upward from the water, coiling through the lightning, through the wind, through the driving rain, and wrapping that form with a patience that is the precise opposite of everything that you are. The lightning stills, the wind drops, the rain stops. What raged and burned and refused to be anything less than total is compressed into silence, held in some stillness that a storm was never built to survive.
I would never have allowed that to come to myself. Not without a plan. I would have fought that until there was nothing left of me. So clearly, it was on purpose.
That seems quite possible. I remember an uprising, an elven mage. She made herself the focal point of a rebellion against the gods. I tried. Of course, she was struck down. And the petty squabbles between those below her destroyed what she had built. And then this petty squabbles between the divines. Oh. How they argued. It was hilarious. And of course, once it began, I had to make it worse. I apologize for my theft. It was so glorious watching those little bits of power, of information, having to bite them in the ass for their arrogance. I'm sorry. No, I'm not.
Your reflection pours across the lake like spilled ink. And then Kakia ascends from the water. Figure of ruined majesty, regal beyond anything the mortal world has produced, and rotting at the very center of that regality. Fissures run deep through the flesh, enough that ember glow bleeds from underneath, and crawling shadow seeps outward. Garments are immense, and the form was once a symbol of authority that nothing in creation dared refuse. And even in tatters, they carry that authority still, trailing across the surface of the water as the figure rises. Wherever that form meets the lake, the water darkens, and corruption spreads outward in slow rings. The full scale of what Kakia is, what you are. Something so fundamentally and magnificently wrong that the world around you begins to come apart simply from the fact of your presence. But from the water, chains tear themselves upward, through the cracks, through the ember glow, through the shadow bleeding from the fissures, link by link, forcing that glorious ruin inward and downward. The cracks seal under pressure. The ember glow is extinguished. What you are, that terrible and magnificent splendor, compressed and bound and reduced to something the world thinks it can contain. Around the form of Kakia, other figures pull themselves from the water, enormous and divine, ascending one by one until the space around each of the bound forms is filled.
So similar to the sight that I saw myself of mighty, mighty creatures being so arrogant in their elemental strength and unbendability, yet brought down by simple little whispers and half-truths. It was such a beautiful little play, and all just so incredibly easy to orchestrate. I'm glad that none of you are so simple-minded as that. This is far more fun.
Giselle, your reflection floods across the lake in a rush of shadow and silver, and Eris rises from the water, hooded figure of impossible scale, cloaked in scales that shift between darkness and silver light, each one catching the surface of the lake differently, throwing back 100, 1,000 versions of the same vast and unreadable presence. The veil falls across its face, and behind its eyes, two eyes burn cold as distant stars, steady and depthless, and fixed on something that hasn't happened yet. Serpents coil around their arms and shoulders, enormous and alive, spreading outward across the surface of the water as the figure ascends. The full scale of what Eris is, what you are. So fluid, so vast, so utterly still at the center of their own enormity, that the world can't quite settle on a single true impression of what it's witnessing. From the water, the chains rise, driving themselves through the scales, through the serpents, through the shadow and the silver, link by link, consuming what was fluid and impossible to fix in place. The serpents still. The scales stop shifting. The eyes behind the veil burn just a moment longer than everything else before they too go dark. What you are caught and held against your will. And more figures arise around the chained form of Eris, enormous, taking shape one by one, seeming to close in a circle tighter on this group.
Simply never will they hold me completely.
I recalled when we first came to this world, the threads of connection between it and us to each other. I recalled my first act of creation there. Reflecting the connections I observed.
Your reflection races away, join the others. And then Phoebus rises. The water erupts upward in a column of impossible force, and from it a figure takes shape, radiant, beautiful beyond bearing, features shifting like light through diamond, hair spreading across the surface of the lake like rivers of molten gold. The full scale of what Phoebus is, what you are. Towering above the shoreline, above the tree line, against the sky itself, so immense and so luminous that the air around them bends with the weight of their presence. And then the water rises again, with chains, pulling them downward into the depths of the lake, coiling around that radiant form, winding tighter, dragging downward. The figure that moments ago filled the sky is pulled to its knees, then lower. The light dims by degrees. The gold dims, the beauty dims. What was overwhelming and absolute is bound and diminished and held. And then more figures rise from the water, around the chained forms, enormous, taking shape, one by one, surrounding that bound and dimming light in full silence. It seems to carry the full weight of what has just been done. But beneath that surface, Phoebus, so deep that it's almost nothing, almost imagined, a single thread runs through the water that doesn't belong to anybody that's standing here.
I reach out for it. I grasp it. And I tug lightly. Is it anchored?
You do feel a resistance.
There is a thread here. I believe we should follow it. It is not of ours.
Why not?
Maybe it's the shepherd that was mentioned, if there is one.
Very well, but I'm tired of being led around.
I
Let's
agree.
find the end of this.
That is a good question. Were we meant to find the thread? Or was it meant to remain hidden?
Or do we cut it?
I'd rather see what's on the other end.
Hmm.
Let's pull it until it unravels.
I will like to cast guidance upon Camber, which will give you like a D4 to any ability check that you use for 1 minute.
What would you like to do, Gabber? Hurry up. Decide.
I will. Can I see the connection, the threads connecting all of us as well?
At this moment, yes.
Then let us maintain our connections and do this. And I pull the thread, but with the intention of pulling us toward the opposite end of the thread.
Beautiful.
Believing in this non-water that intent matters.
I brace myself upon Camber because I'm still not walking.
It's like everything stills. All at once. Every ripple and tremor and motion is gone. In a single instant, the surface flattens into something vast and dark, stretching from shore to horizon with the 5 enormous chained forms and those other vast figures that rose with them standing beyond the shore. 5 gods bound and diminished at the center of something enormous, frozen in a moment of undoing. And then the chains that run between those 5 rise. They break the surface link by link, and what emerges is a tangle that's so wrong that it pulls each form against the other in a straining configuration that makes the whole area shudder with the force of it. Divine beings knotted together in an order that the chains themselves seem to be rebelling against, the whole mass of it sitting above the surface of the lake. And then 5 points of light bloom on the surface of the water at the shore's edge. One burning directly before each of you, steady and separate. Each one throwing its light downward into the dark water below. 5 flames standing at the boundary between where you are and what you were.
I'm gonna have to get wet.
Camber pulls up the cap of water breathing. Hold your breath if you can't breathe water.
You all brace yourselves to dive deep into this water. And instead you all faceplant onto a hard surface of glass instead. Probably take a couple of hit points.
Yes, I need that.
Okay. I will get off Camber's back now.
You're standing on a surface of glass, which should be water. Looks like water. It's not water.
I'm gonna tap at it with my glaive.
Ding, ding, ding.
Fascinating.
It chips sort of
Is-
like mica in sheets.
Is anyone home? Gods are knocking.
Hello,
Very-
Evans.
Carefully. I'm gonna collect a few of these sheets. Are the edges sharp?
They are sharp, but they are brittle.
Like this. Into the portable bowl.
Into the portable hole.
Let me double check that I in fact have that. Yes, I do. Into the portable hole.
All right, then. So we're here.
Let's just find what is to do. I'm gonna start walking around.
Anywhere in particular?
Are there individual lights in this section?
There
Or-
are 5 individual spots of light.
I'm going to walk toward the one that I feel the strongest toward.
Make a haha. Make a religion check.
Embarrassing if I fail this.
It
What
will
would
be.
I definitely got an
Girl.
11.
Come
Embarrassing.
on, 11. Okay. None of them, Zola, none of them seem to call to you in particular. You also feel, as you cycle through these lights trying to get a sense of where you belong, you feel closer to your divine nature on the one on the left. It also feels strong to the one on the far right. But that feels more like you, Zola, as a powerful person. Whereas to the one on the left, you feel like you, Torog.
I go to the right.
You stand on the one on the far right?
Mm-hmm.
It feels inherently correct. Like this is where you belong. Both of you.
Mm. And I'll call out to my companions. Well, I didn't burst into flames. This one is mine.
I will stride up to the 4 remaining places of light, holding up my hand, casting druid craft, but instead of producing flame, it just produces little crackles of electricity. And I will watch as I move my hand around, just kind of like which ones is to see where the electrons get excited, where do they jump to.
I love that. Let's make a nature check.
Ooh, I'm good at that one. 16.
16. You get the sense that there is a place for you. Somewhere here. You know that. You also know that you are standing here reconstructing your memories and trying to figure out where and when you belong in this sequential order.
I move to the second one from the left.
You can feel this time, this act of creation that belongs at this point. But you don't belong to creation.
I belong after creation. So I move to the one next to it.
You have memories of the uprising, the mortals, when Nyra Vale struck against you. But this isn't your point in time either.
Well, I know it's not at the beginning. So it must be the fourth one over. Stand beside Zola on the fourth one.
Your memory aligns with Torog's. You remember everything from the world that you all walked to the moment of your fall.
There is an order to these things based upon the stories that we have. Find your place in the sequence.
Don't we always just find ourselves standing next to each other?
Indeed, we do, love.
Yeah, really makes me want to drink. From the tales that were told, I'm going to remember that. That glass.
Rudra.
Rudra was kind of like in the middle of between mine. And I will go take my spot, and I am sorry, someone is calling me.
That's okay.
So I will have to slip away for a minute.
That's all right. Do your thing. We'll be back. We'll play Process of Elimination with everybody else.
Well, I think the minute Rudra says there's an order and Zola is standing at the far end, Camber knows what we said and walks to the opposite end from Zola, from Torag, and steps on that very first light.
You feel the beginning of everything. And floods into you, along with the end.
Entwined.
The Alpha and the Omega.
Such ego, big fella. I like it. I was merely going to say that all five really ought to belong to me, but
Oh, the
I will
sadness
go
of
and
picking one.
see where I stand, I guess.
Where do you stand?
I will go up to the second from the left, and I think I will reach up toward the light and cast legend lore.
Yes, come on. Tell us what Legend Lord does.
Well, it's probably doesn't do anything specifically. The way the spell is but you name or describe a famous person, place, or object. Um, and the spell is supposed to bring you to mind a specific summary of the significant lore about that thing. But
I love it.
the attempt is at a more of a, you know, philosophical usage of
Yes.
the spell.
I'm here for it. This whole session is a usage of that spell. I'm here for it. It does feel right, Giselle, and you remember the moment of your arrival, your creation, when you worked together before the split. You remember the war against the Titans, their imprisonment. And then you remember the war between the gods. Your split from the rest of the Pantheon. Your fall to immortal life. Lives.
Yes. Well, I guess we must endeavor to not let ourselves be what those are outside. They failed, or were trapped, lost, diminished. I really wish to be none of those things. So let's see what this new order will show us.
Tetriana, we cut away from you when you had your call. Do you step into the remaining spot?
I do.
I love it. The memory is complete for all of you, for each of you. You watch as these massive figures of the gods dissolve into bright points of light. And you stand in the order of creation, of war, of everything that was taken from you. And the lake erupts. Every figure still standing in the center of this lake dives inward in a single violent instant, these enormous forms crashing into one another with a force that tears the surface of the water outward in every direction, like a shock wave rolling across the lake and breaking against the shore where you stand. And from that collision, a single blazing point of light erupts from the center of the water, so fierce and so absolute that the lake beneath it seems to burn. And the light shatters. There's an elven woman, slight and still, standing above the surface of the water where all that terrible force just was. Wearing a face that you know. One from the mortal uprising. Naira Vale.
Oh, my love.
The water around her tears itself upward, a form of enormous and ancient authority building itself around that little mortal frame and climbing, robes of darkness spreading across the surface of the lake, a hood descending, arms spreading wide enough to swallow the horizon, something colossal and ancient and draped in death itself, constructing itself around one small elven woman until she disappears entirely inside of it. Moros, the god of death, standing at the heart of the moment everything was taken from you. And the lake explodes upwards and slams shut and takes all of it back in one detonating instant. The divine form, the woman, the light, gone. Wave after wave, crashing against the shore where you stand until it settles. and the surface stretches before you, still vast and still empty. And the 5 of you stand at the shore. Who knows what I'm about to say? I think it's a good time to call it. Back on the other side of credits. Oh my goodness, we're back. I had to make sure that everybody was still having fun while we were at credits. I hope you guys are having a great time. I just had an awesome time. I love a lore session, and thank you guys for indulging me and contributing and building on it, and I'm digging it so very much. You guys are amazing, and you make this so fucking easy. It's great. Anyway, let's do some stars and wishes, shall we? I'm gonna start with Maeve tonight.
Moi?
Yeah.
I think my star has to go to Dika.
Oh, the voice.
The
Oh,
voice
the
was
voice.
fantastic. The whole vibe, the whole package.
Yeah. It's a very good one. What about your wishes, Maeve? What you want to see next time?
Oh, just more. Just more. Just more.
What do we do now? I'm here for it. I'm excited. We should be back a couple weeks, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Thanks, Maeve. Who you want to chuck it to?
Alex.
Alex.
That's me.
Hey, friend. I would love to hear your stars and wishes.
Okay.
Okay, if I insist.
Yeah, I think in an ironic twist of direction, my star's going to go to Maeve.
Yeah.
I-
Come on.
I love a powerful, self-aware and self-possessed creature of lore and myth.
Mhm.
And then also the character that she portrays is pretty cool.
Truth.
I am indeed a cryptid, yes.
But yeah, I love the not having it, the ultimate strength in that, the true embodiment of the storm and the power, and just all of the little aspects are reflected in the characterization, and I really love it.
Me too.
And
Next time.
is more, bigger, stronger, faster. Well, maybe not faster, actually slower. Let's draw it out as long as we can. Yeah, just more of the same. I
guys are
also
flattering, girl.
love a lore and a reason for being badass.
Laura's great. I'm so happy you guys helped me make it so good. Thanks, Alex. Would you like to go next?
Let's throw it over to V.
V. I would love to hear your stars and wishes.
Well, I do believe my star is going to go to Amber.
Camper.
Our little beacon of light. Our massive beacon of light.
The only beacon of light. So good. What about your wishes, V? What you want to see next time?
I want to see more of that poor elf.
Oh yes, that poor elf. I'm sure there's a completely innocent reason that she's here right now.
Yeah.
You just want to see her.
Yeah, no. I really think Kakia just fell in love with her when she started that uprising.
Let's go.
Yes, you are perfect.
You're so entertaining.
Mhm.
And all those petty little squabbles underneath you? Oh, you are wonderful.
I love that. Aw, thanks, V. Who would you like to go next?
Well, let's hear from Amy.
Amy, your turn.
I think I'm going to give my star tonight to Alex. No, I'm not going to get wet. I understand. I understand that we have to do this, that I have to do this to move the story forward, but no, not doing it. I loved that. Besides, you gave me a chance to splash you.
Mhm.
So good. That was one of
I
my
didn't
favorites.
shield myself in the moment, so
Nope.
you know,
True,
it's
that's
fine.
I'm here for it. What about your wishes?
Along with the rest, more. I really enjoyed this episode.
Oh, good.
Learning more about each other's histories.
Mm-hmm.
Let's call it that. Yeah.
Yes, I absolutely love that. Like digging into like our godhood personalities. Makes me super duper happy. Excellent. Thanks, Amy. How about you, Dika? Last but not least.
Oh, that is true. Stars, good to you. Lizzie. I can tell you love lore. It was amazing lore.
I do.
I felt like you traveled it and helped and guide us to world build really well as well within the established lore, so that was great. So it was a great time. I love watching everyone's stuff and how you're telling this story, because I can tell you're passionate and it really shows through. So thank you so much. You're amazing.
Stop it. You're not allowed to say me.
Never. Never. Wishes. I want to see if the god of death can die. That'd be fun.
It's one way to find out.
Everything must cycle, you know? Yeah.
Perhaps, maybe he can't die, but he can be entombed.
Oh, I love that.
It's a good attitude to have. I love it. Guys, thank you so much for playing in my game. I love all of this all the time. This is my favorite hobby of ever. So thank you for being here and playing my little game with me. I'm having such a good time. You guys make it so very easy. It's great. We've got more things happening. We're playing Spelljammer on Friday with Amy DMing, and most of us are also GMing. It's great. You don't get to watch us play Vampire on Saturday. That sucks for you guys because it's great. But maybe one day. Sunday, we've got Shiver Gothic. Also going to be a good one. You can see some more of us there. And then Monday is Monster of the Week, where you can see some more of us there. So you're going to want to watch all of those things because we're awesome. And we'll be back soon. So everybody, say goodnight.
Night.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.